Boston Mill Cemetery, established in 1823. It lies on the banks of the Credit River near Caledon, Ontario. It's a beautiful spot. The old part of the cemetery is here on the hill, and there's a newer portion that is behind what was an old schoolhouse, SS number 8. We'll take a trip there now. So where are we today?
Boston Mill Cemetery in Caledon.
What's this?
Well, this is actually a schoolhouse that I don't know very much about, but it's SS number 8. It was built in 1888, and I know that because I can see that on the actual school. But it's unusual because it is, well, right now it's in the middle of a cemetery, and I think it was right next to the original cemetery, so it's a bit unusual. And it's one of the things I remember most about this cemetery the first time we came here.
This school is what's known as a union school. It was SS, or school section, 8, CHINGUACOUSY, and SS 17, Caledon. It was built in 1888. I read that this was converted to a mortuary because winter burials, of course, in southern Ontario are particularly difficult. So it was converted into a mortuary, although I'm not sure when. But we can see that this part of the cemetery here, and what was the school property, or what I assume was the school property, all the headstones are newer. All of the headstones are from 1990 and later by the looks of it. I haven't done an exhaustive survey, but there is nothing old on this side. All of the old markers are on this side. This is an example of a fairly rudimentary monument restoration. It's been comprised of, it looks like, at least 3 pieces, and is held together with some sort of channels that were just purchased at, Home Depot or something similar. You can see there's epoxy in the crack. So this is very much a historical society or something repair. And although it is not the most elegant or beautiful thing ever, what it has done is maintained the integrity of the stone, and we are still able to this day to read the inscription on the stone. There have been a number of stones. You see the one immediately next to it also has a very similar repair. The one behind. So this looks like there was a campaign of repair that was done all around the same time. And as we move to one monument over, we can see there's an earlier repair. Similar style, but using a ferrous material that has clearly started to degrade and has stained the monument. And you can see near the bottom, there is concrete. So again, this is not the kind of restoration that we would undertake today. It's not conservation quality, if you will, but once again, it has allowed the stone to stand erect, and to this day we are still able to read Duncan McGregor's dates. So although maybe not the best solution for monument restoration, it has preserved the monument to this day. So good job to whoever had the foresight to undertake these repairs. Look at these early headstones. 15 years, died in 1850, 1847, and the middle one is completely illegible. This is the grave of David Williams. This is one of the reasons we wanted to come to Boston Mill Cemetery today. David Williams and his brother emigrated to Canada from Wales in 1821. They were given a tract of land in the then wilderness fronting the Credit River. And as they were preparing their land for fields and to build their cabins and all of those obligations that early Ontario pioneers had, he was cutting down a tree and it killed him in 1823. Now, unfortunately, his death was unfortunate, but his brother was faced with being alone in the wilderness, not having access to a sawmill back in 1823. There was no sawmill here. So there was nobody to make the coffin. This was wilderness, so there was no cemetery. So what his brother did was buried him in the bark of the tree. So he just hollowed out the tree that killed him to make the casket, and buried him on a hill overlooking their family plot of land and the Credit River, which is just there. And as this was the first burial in this area, very early, 1823, this became the home, the final resting place of many others who settled in this area, and eventually it became the Boston Mills Cemetery. This stand of cedars, straight line, running the length of the old section. I suspect this was the property line of the original cemetery before it was enlarged. They say this cemetery is haunted. That's not why I came, but it does add an interesting element to the tale. I haven't seen or felt anything unusual, but I don't have that kind of sensitivity, so I'm not surprised. But it is a beautiful cemetery in a really rural location, at least rural for now. As we were driving up here, we saw all of the farmers' fields being taken over by ugly townhouse complexes. But for now, we'll just enjoy this